Hey everyone, welcome. Today we've got an absolutely fantastic explainer lined up for all you youth soccer coaches, parents, and volunteers out there. We're diving deep into a great resource, Soccer Drills for Kids Ages 6 to 10 by Chess Duggar. And today we are focusing entirely on mastering one absolute game changer of an exercise, the narrow spaces drill. Listen, whether you're working with absolute beginners who've literally never touched a soccer ball, or you've got those energetic under 10s who just want to sprint and score, knowing exactly how to set up and run this specific drill is going to completely transform your practices. We're going to break down the whole shebang from the field setup right down to the exact technical cues you need to be watching for on the sidelines. So if you've ever actually stepped on a field to coach youth soccer, you know exactly what I mean by beautiful sideline chaos, right? The kids are just bursting with energy, half of them are staring at airplanes in the sky, and the rest, well, they just want to boot the ball as hard as humanly possible and chase it down. The source text makes a really insightful point here. It notes that young kids have this natural sort of egocentricity on the field. Dribbling and running, that's just what they inherently want to do. So as coaches, we really shouldn't fight that urge. Instead, we need a structured way to channel all that massive energy. We need a setup that takes their desire to just run wild and turns it into real foundational muscle memory. And you know what? That is exactly what the narrow spaces drill is built to do. The author reveals a truly powerful coaching philosophy for taming all this chaos. You've got to build a drill where children can easily find success. That word right there, success, that is your secret ingredient to youth development. Young players, especially the beginners, absolutely thrive on it. Think about it. If a drill is way too complex, or it has too many passing rules, or it just ends in frustration, you're going to lose their attention in 2 minutes flat, for sure. This particular drill is specifically engineered to be a massive confidence builder. By stripping away all the complicated tactics and just giving them a clear, simple physical task that ends with them firing a ball into a net, we guarantee they walk away feeling super accomplished. And an accomplished kid is a kid who actually wants to come back to practice next week. Okay, let's look at the actual blueprint. Here is your field geography. Notice how this layout is designed to keep absolutely everyone moving. You've got a center line of players that feeds into a straight line dribble right through a tightly packed pair of cones, and that leads directly toward the goal. From there, you can introduce a staggered setup, which forces a quick change of direction right before they hit that final shooting zone. It's essentially a continuous, self-contained loop. The real beauty of this physical layout is that it keeps the kids busy and dialed in. They aren't just standing around in some massive single-file line waiting 10 minutes just to get one touch on the ball. Instead, they are engaged in this constant, flowing cycle of dribbling, shooting, and resetting. Now, for those absolute youngest groups, the source offers a fantastic and honestly kind of counterintuitive pro tip. Completely remove the goalkeepers. I know, at this foundation level, your first instinct is probably to put a kid between the posts. But a goalie can actually be a huge deterrent to a young dribbler's confidence. And frankly, the goalie usually just ends up bored, picking dandelions in the grass, or getting intimidated by the ball anyway. By opening up an entirely empty net, you're basically telling that 6-year-old, hey, your only job is to guide this ball through the path and finish strong. It is pure, unadulterated positive reinforcement. All right, so how do we actually run this thing? Let's break down the chronological actions step by step so you know exactly how the player should be moving out there. Step 1, they dribble straight through the first set of closely paired cones. This forces them to keep the ball directly in front of their feet. Step 2, they change direction at the second set of cones. This is where they have to shift their body weight and actually manipulate the ball. Step 3, entering the shooting zone. This is that absolutely crucial transition from dribbling mode into striking mode. And finally, step 4, shoot and score. It's just a beautifully logical progression, isn't it? You go from straight line control straight into agility and turning, and you finish it all off with power and accuracy. But listen, setting up the cones, that's really only half your job. The other half is observation. So grab your clipboard because here are the exact physical cues you need to watch for and correct from the sidelines. First up, are they pushing the ball with their laces instead of their toes? Beginners absolutely love to toe poke the ball, which just makes it pop away uncontrollably. You gotta encourage them to point that toe down. Second, are they staying light on their feet? Because flat-footed players literally cannot change direction quickly. Third, and this is a big one, are their arms out for balance? Cue them to put their arms out like airplane wings. It stabilizes them as they navigate those narrow spaces. And finally, when they hit that shooting zone, you want to make sure they're striking the ball with their laces and following through smoothly so they generate some real pace. Now, you're very quickly going to run into a really common instinct here. Kids automatically equate being good with being fast. The very second you blow that whistle, their immediate instinct is going to be to sprint through those cones at top speed. And well, that usually results in the ball flying 10 yards away while the kid trips headfirst over a cone. So, your job as the explainer out there on the field is to drill into their minds that accuracy and close control matter way, way more than how fast they can run. They have to learn to move the ball just short distances. You want to heavily reward the kid who takes 10 careful, calculated touches to get through the narrow space over the kid who takes one massive kick and just sprints after it. Remember, we are building muscle memory here. Precision has to come before pace. But hey, kids learn fast, right? Soon enough, that initial setup is going to feel a little too easy for them. Thankfully, the source gives us a really clear progression phase for leveling up. Once your players have totally mastered the basic straight line and single turn skills, you don't actually need to invent a completely new drill. You just tweak the environment you already have. You can narrow the dribbling zone by moving the cones even closer together. That demands much tighter footwork. You can add more turns, creating a zigzag course that forces them to use both the inside and outside of their feet to drop their weight and turn sharply. And finally, once they are consistently striking the ball with their laces and scoring goals, well, that's exactly when you bring the goalkeepers back in to add that extra layer of real game pressure. See, you're continually raising the ceiling, but you're doing it on the exact same foundation. So, bringing it all together, how will you use narrow spaces to help your youngest players leave the field feeling like absolute superstars? You've got the complete blueprint now. You know the exact technical cues to watch for, and you've got the methods to scale the difficulty as they improve. So here is my challenge to you. Take this structured explainer straight to your very next practice session. Strip away those goalies for a bit, prioritize close control over sprinting, and just watch your players build massive amounts of confidence while having the absolute time of their lives out there. Thanks so much for joining this explainer, and we will see you out on the field.